All right, guys, this is the review for the Hill People gear. Not a review, but layout of my packing list for the Hill People gear for hanging out in the desert west, Utah, Nevada area over the past few days. Start out, for those of you guys who don't know about the Hill People gear, it is basically designed to be a trail concealment holster. I used to wear a chest-mounted pistol downrange when I was doing admin stuff. So I had like a Kydex holster. It was made by Survival Sheaths for the Glock 19. Came across and around my back had some elastic on it. And when we had to run with guns at all times, we had to run with our pistols to do PT and stuff, or just walking around on the fob in shorts and a t-shirt and flip-flops. When I didn't have a belt that I could carry a pistol on, I carried my Glock 19 in a chest rig. So I've worn chest rigs before, and I've worn them attached to my armor for other stuff. So I was kind of interested about this. I did not know Scott Hill, the owner of Hill People Gear. I've since met him a couple of times. I bought this just straight off the website. Did some research. I carry large frame guns, so I got the bigger of the two bags. I'm also a big boy, so wasn't really going to be an issue. Has a mesh back piece. It unbuckles on one side. The other side is fixed. I kind of wish this end was open. I think I would probably modify this and add a Fastex buckle over here so that I can throw it on over my head. Depending on how you have the chest straps tightened, it will put more or less pressure on the nape of your neck. You've got this thing tightened up really tight, and you have your chest straps, your back straps loose, that entire rig will sit right across this back seam, right on your spine. And it can get a little bit uncomfortable. By lowering it a little bit more and then getting into, that's the other thing that the straps, they pull to the rear. So if you've got bad shoulders, issues, and the applying force to the rear with your ball and socket all jacked up, I'm bilaterally jacked in both shoulders. So for me, getting it as tight as I needed to was hard. I actually had to pull the rig off, tighten the sides, put it back on, and then clip it in, and then let everything settle. And then I had a much better suspension, kind of like Scott had designed, where this mesh back panel is splitting the weight evenly, loading it straight into the center of your back, and then equally adjusted. So if you guys have ever tried a pack like this and it did not feel right for you, I would submit that you probably were not adjusted properly. So either using buddy adjustment or taking it off, playing with it, putting it back on, doing that multiple times, get it fitted right for you. Once I had this thing fit well, wore it all day, I was able to breathe. That was another thing that I was concerned about. Well, if it's tightened up for suspension, and then I start huffing and puffing, and I was huffing and puffing. I was climbing some stuff up over 9,000 feet. And as old and broke as I am, it was a good time. It was a good time. So, there's a whole forum on Hill People Gear. You guys can learn everything you ever wanted to know about this chest rig. I'm just throwing my failings to you guys because that's the content that I'm not going to say the content that you guys are paying for. That is the honest feedback, keeping it real. That's the reason why you guys are all here. So that was Chuck f***ing it up, being uncomfortable, then figuring it out, and then really comfortable, right? Got it? Cool. So outside, I have a Surefire Aviator. It is essentially the same as the Vampire, the V1 Vampire, except for instead of IR, it does the night vision compatible yellow-green at 568 nanometers. Very, very, very good. Doesn't jack your eyes up real bad. I really, really like working in low light under night vision compatible green. So, and then it has your 2-position white light as well, single cell torch. So the Aviator stays on this kit all the time unless I need it for some other kit. I have my Sinto wrist compass, which would either stay on here and only be taken off if I needed it, or would be mounted on the opposite wrist from my wristwatch to keep the magnetic field and blah, 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 more accurate, blah, 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 blah. You guys get it. What else is on the outside? Well, now I have a GPS. Before I was having to carry an older handheld Garmin, like 60 series, 60 CS or whatever. Once I went to the Phoenix, I was getting my visual GUI, geographic user interface, digital map. I was getting my digital maps, topos on my watch screen. If I wanted something larger, then I was using my phone for like route planning and stuff like that. If I was just checking trail intersections and things that were depicted on a regular topo map, this screen was large enough to do that. The Phoenix, InReach syncs to my phone and allows me to use shared routes, GPX files, whatever. It can use the Garmin Basecamp map app, make full routes with waypoints, all that stuff, and I can download them to both this and I can download them to this, and these two will talk to one another. So I can basically use this as a full color topo map. I've got Guy on here as well, but having Garmin proprietary stuff all talking to each other, it just makes uploading files without having to export them export them, save them, and then import them into a different software format. This seamlessly uploads and downloads all that stuff. So for you guys that don't know what an InReach Mini does, it is a satellite communicator. It used to have a larger screen and did everything that a Garmin 60 series, Oregon, all that stuff. So the InReach was essentially your handheld GPS device that you looked at all your maps on, and it did all the stuff, the satellite crap that's in here. Basically, they got rid of all the GUI, interfacey, buttony, mappy stuff to get this thing as small as possible, which is why I wanted it, because I was pretty much beyond carrying a 60 style or an Oregon style handheld GPS. Didn't need it. Everything was going to the phones. So, but I wanted the satellite communications capability. So I went ahead, because this was being offered. This was like I was going to put it in my survival kit and never use it type of item. But these were on sale at Overland West when you bought the Overlander. So there you go. Garmin InReach Mini. Turn it on. It uses the Iridium satellite network. I've had an Iridium pager in the past. Data over Iridium is much more reliable than voice over Iridium. If you've ever 00619 got the MWR phone, call back to your spouse on the DoD unlimited minutes plan on a sat phone, and you had drop calls, yeah, text messaging, way more reliable, way less drop calls. So Garmin is paired up with Iridium, allows you to send up and download pre-made messages. You can also turn on a tracking feature. I am deciding, based on how much I'm going to be spending outside, I'm going to get a feedback from you guys. I would like to know if I paid for a more robust plan, which would be like $90 a month. I could get unlimited tracking, and essentially I could come on the Patreon or whatever, and I could drop my tracks. I could post a URL, and you guys could go to the URL and you could see texting updates, and all of my GPS tracks, like once every 10 minutes, it would drop a breadcrumb. You guys could see wherever I was at, anytime I was out doing either off-roading or hiking or any of that stuff. If that's something that you guys want to nerd out on or whatever, like track Chuck, where's Waldo? I'll consider upgrading my plan to be able to, right now it's 10 cents for every breadcrumb I drop. So I could bump up that plan, go from $20 a month up to like $100 a month or whatever, which I would gladly do for you guys if that's something that you're really interested in. If you guys are like, man, I don't give a f- where you are in the mountains, then I'm not going to pay $100 a month so that my Patreon subscribers could see where my breadcrumbs are at. So Patreon guys, comment on that back on the Patreon page. And if there's enough interest in that or whatever, I'll bump the numbers up. Okay. So that covers the outside of the pack. Nope, it doesn't. TQ on the bottom. Disclaimer, that's the only first aid I was carrying. Nah, that's not true. I got some stuff on the inside. I'm lying to you. Don't listen to me. But I do not have a full IFAC in here. I carry a much larger IFAC in the urban jungle than I carry out on the backcountry. And that's just a factor of weight and bulk and other survival-y type items or whatever that I wanted to put in here. My plan is to get rescued like with a quickness. So communications, navigation, stuff like that was more important to me. I just wanted a little bit of stop the bleed stuff. So tourniquet on the bottom. Yes, I'm using the RevMed, not a Cat 99 or whatever. I like the RevMed because it's very narrow and flat and it works. It got approved on the TCCC thing. Is it optimal? Not if you're a paramedic or a medic. It's not. Well, I guess the new ones have a ratcheting down thing where you can actually loosen tension instead of just popping that thing open and blowing clots out. So you can discontinue the newer generation of the RevMed, but I don't have any of those. I have the other ones where it's feast or famine. You cinch that thing down, and if you want it off, it's coming off. All the tension's gone at once. Again, if you guys have seen my previous videos, you know that doesn't scare me as a non-medical professional, as an end user, because I'm not going to discontinue my tourniquet anyway. But Chuck, what if you're in the mountains by yourself, you break your leg, you see that it stopped bleeding and it's been on for 14 or 16 hours. Yep. Yeah, I guess I chose poorly then. But in a regular trauma situation, you're going to be at a higher level of care, or a first responder is going to come to you, and they are going to have tourniquets that are more appropriate and more medical knowledge about diagnosing when discontinuing a tourniquet in the field is appropriate. And then they're going to do that process. As an end user, self-aid person, I do not subscribe to have a vast desire to discontinue my own tourniquet. Outdoor expeditionary medicine, probably an exception to that rule. Probably need to check in with some of my buddies that are still current on all their certs or whatever, and ask them like, hey man, should I bring a windlass tourniquet? Like, how long, if I've applied a tourniquet, should I look at DCing it if I want to save the limb or whatever? And they might tell you, dude, whether you get amputated or not is a straight factor of how fast you get rescued. Put it on and leave it. And if that's the answer, okay, that's the answer. I guess I got the right tourniquet for that. But anyway, if we have any learned doctors in the group and they want to chime in and tell me that for expeditionary backcountry medicine or whatever, hi, hon. Sorry. That I need to have a tourniquet that I can properly loosen, then I will revisit the Cat 7. Okay. Or Cat 9 or Cat 25 or whatever the flavor of the week is for North American Rescue. Okay. So that does cover the outside of the bag. No, it doesn't. Still lying to you guys. Garmin Tempe. Garmin Tempe is a external thermometer gauge thing that talks to my watch or other Garmin peripheral devices. Obviously, if you're on a ski trip and you have your ski jacket here and your ski gloves on and you check and see how warm it is outside, it's using the temperature sensor that's on here. It's going to be wrong. If you want to know how cold it actually is outside, you need a temperature sensor that is not inside of your layered clothing. That's what the Tempe is designed for. It's literally designed to clip onto external zips on your outer shell to give you more accurate temperature readings. So, and maybe it does some other atmospherics as well, but it didn't cost me very much. Big fan of Garmin peripherals. So I bought one a while back from Joe Stroman at Stroman Enterprises when I bought a bunch of other little Garmin knickknacks. So Garmin Tempe will also talk to the Verb camera systems and all that. So if I was doing action camera footage with my Verb, that's why I use Verb instead of GoPro. And because the Verb talks wirelessly to other sensors that have gyroscopes and accelerometers and EDB2 sensors in your vehicle, whatever, and you can import all that data onto the Garmin Verb videos. So when I thought I was going to be doing more social media content creation, I thought that would be cool that I could have overlays when I was doing driving stuff. You guys could see the RPMs, the tack on the vehicle and all that. It could all be superimposed over the videos. I haven't moved that much into the mobility space, so I haven't had a need for it. But I am looking at using some other sensors for the Verb, like the heart rate monitor and some of the other stuff for when I start doing the USPSA videos and other shooting stuff like that. So you guys will be able to see my heart rate during courses of fire, other stuff. So you guys may see the Garmin editing software coming back into my life instead of just hitting the easy button and taking videos on my phone. So now we get to the inside. So you've got your pistol case in here. It's the closest thing to your body. So that's your straight up 90s fanny pack thing you got going on over there. It will not hold stupid large hand cannons like comped Glock 22 with an aim point and a Dawson +5. Like it was too much. I had to go with a flush mag on the bottom or whatever. Also, be careful of gas pedals because you're sandwiching this thing in and putting it up against your body. So you want to have a field pistol that does not have large controls like maybe your duty gun or competition gun would have. Because if you have too much of a stendo on the side of this thing, when you go to pull your gun out, your mag's going to drop off on the ground because it's going to have been activated during your high activity. So blaster goes in there, and then you zip it to the corner, and it's a peel down design. You guys have, well, some of y'all are too young to have probably ever carried a gun in a fanny pack. Everything comes back full circle, though. Fanny packs are making a comeback. Anyway, there are 3 total pockets: gun pocket, main pocket, front pocket, and then there are subdividers on the inside. So there you go. I have an add-on pouch, which is it Velcro or is it woven? It is Velcro. And it is Hill People Gear designed it for collapsing up mini binos and sticking them in there and having it padded for like scouting elk in the backcountry and shit, right? So I took the mini bino pouch and I turned it into radio protection pouch. So my Kenwood HT goes in there with the digital faceplate facing back towards me. That puts the antenna further away from my face and protects the screen from scratching, damage, whatever. There's enough room in that pouch that I also have my Winkler Pokey Stabby, which has a thin Kydex sheath with hook pile tape or hook Velcro, fuzzy Velcro. Inside of this has got First Spear. This is all subbed out. First Spear is the OEM for them, I think. So I could take that, which is designed to go inside of a roll of Pals webbing, and I can stick it right against the Velcro on the inside. So is this the best field knife ever? Nah. I could probably come up with a better field knife. This thing's a dagger. Yeah. So, but I like the thin design. I love this sheath. This is this is about as easy to carry in terms of carrying it on your kit as the Sock P. Let me go up to the actual blade. Which one would you rather get stabbed with repeatedly? Yeah. So urban jungle, civilian, concealed carry laws, concealability, fighting tool. Duty gear, more overt, more lethal. So I'll get a field knife eventually, and I might mount it to the bottom and move the TQ on to the inside or something like that. But for right now, just when I was taking a first swag at this, and it's not like I nerded out for a long time, guys, like thinking about this. There's stuff that just is flat out missing from this kit. I'm like, man, you ain't got whatever in here. We'll figure it out here in a second. So optional, obviously, not carrying a rifle. Don't need an extra mag. There's an internal pocket on this face, two of them. It's subdivided. So in this one, I've got one extra pistol mag. Yeah, I was carrying my, not carrying my Glock this past trip. I have my Nighthawk. So double stack, mag, one extra rifle mag. And they go in that subdivided pocket there. Over on the other side, directly across from the radio is kind of bulky. I don't have a whole lot in there. But I do have Surefire wrist light. And the reason why I chose the Surefire wrist light is because I can do camp utility stuff with it hands-free, and it's rechargeable. So I will get to power management, but I wanted to have at least one light that was rechargeable out of my kit. Princeton Tech headlamp. Headlamp, hands-free, good to go. I like light. I like seeing in the dark. So I'm multiple lights. So headlamp. I could probably get one that's smaller than that. I used to carry a black diamond that was tiny. I don't know where it is. Juice pack, spare cable. If this is GUI navigation tool in the event that the watch goes down or whatever, and it's the interface to the Garmin InReach, I want to be able to see this GUI. So if I'm out someplace where there's no signal, immediately turn it to airplane mode, shut off the Wi-Fi, and dim the screen. And this phone's going to last a long time. I can charge it up 2 more times with the juice pack. So the juice pack, also if I bring a cable, recharge my Garmin off the juice pack, recharge my InReach off the juice pack, recharge my flashlight off the juice pack. I actually carry 2 juice packs depending on how long I'm going to be out. 10,500 milliamp hour juice pack, so 20K. And I carry 2 of them instead of one that's larger because it's easier to flatten the loadout because you get to a 20K and it's going to get kind of fat and beefy. And if it takes some type of trauma, I've lost all my batteries. If I have two 10,500, then I can charge two things simultaneously. Or if one breaks, gets smashed, crushed, whatever, I still have cells in their own separate housing that have not been compromised by water, impact, whatever, connector breakage, all that stuff. So just a little bit of redundancy there. All right. And then on the outer pocket, I have all my little knickknacks. So some of these are licky, chewy stuff, not survival related. I got chapstick and cat crap. Cat crap, keep my eye pro from fogging. Chapstick, keep my lips from cracking. I have actual BS17 panel section here. These things are kind of heavy. They're really bright. But they're kind of heavy and they're kind of a one-trick pony. It's not really big enough to do a whole lot. So looking at my packing list, I'm probably going to drop this and replace it with some type of absorbent first aid like gauze, because I can do a lot of different stuff with gauze. Maybe quick clot gauze. Maybe not though. Maybe 1-in-1. All right. So that was in the outside pocket. It also has two subdivided pockets. That one came out of this subdivided pocket. And there's also a Leatherman wave in there. That's going to give me two sharp blades that are most of the time sharper than whatever folding utility knife I'm carrying that I'm using for everyday cutting use. I try not to use the blades on my wave so that they'll be stupid sharp when I need them in a survival situation. And then it's got all your regular multi-tool stuff. So of all of the Leatherman tools, the Leatherman wave has been my favorite. I really, really like it. I've got in the other, and they do have little tie down attachment point thingies in here. So if you have an item that you're afraid while you're digging for one thing, the other thing's going to fall out and get lost in the dark, you can tie off your stuff with parachute cord. For those of you that follow me on Facebook, one of my old sergeant majors trolled me when he saw the advertisement for this video and asked why the hell everything wasn't tied down with 550 cord. Well, Sergeant Major, guess what? It was. Go yourself. This is a fire starting kit. I'm not going to take all the little components out, but there's tinder and there's flint and steel, which flint and steel, really. How long do you plan on being lost? You know, like your survival kit. There's a difference between dystopian into the world 6 months after the fall of society and my fat ass falling off my Forerunner and breaking my ankle in the backcountry. In one case, nobody's coming for you. In the other case, everybody's coming for you. You just got to let them know. So, waterproof lighter, man, matches. If you see me 4 hours into a situation using flint and steel or steel wool and a battery to start a fire, that is just a fundamental failure in planning. Dude, Bic, pink, so nobody steals it, 89 cents at Circle K. Put it in a Ziploc bag. Dry your wet, clammy ass hands off and don't let either sweat or rain droplets fall on the flint. Dry your hands off. Remove Bic from waterproof bag. All the tenders. Come on, man. This ain't Naked and Afraid. Like, let's be pragmatic about our situation here. I'm in America, and the power grid is still on as of now. Probably, though, one of the most important pieces of gear And I thought about this after that first aid situation where I worked on that little boy that got smashed rappelling next to the falls next year. Mylar Blanket weighs nothing. Now I can't take it out because you'll never get it back this small again. This is a one and done item. Look at what else it is. It's orange. VS17 panel. You've been voted off the island. Okay. So Mylar Space Blanket. I think this is actually, no, this is just a blanket. In my everyday kit, the one that I carry in the urban jungle, I carry an actual Mylar bivvy now. Because hypothermia is no joke, folks. I don't want to be about freezing to death or my kids freezing to death or whatever. Emerson Knives gave Misha this cool Emerson knife dog cravat at the show. And it also happens to be orange, also happens to be a cravat. I can silt filter with this thing once I get water purification in here. I can signal with it if I don't want to break open my space blanket. I can wear it as a sweatband. I can put it over the nape of my neck, keep the sun off of me, like way more useful than my VS17 panel. So VS17 panel, you've been voted off the island and you've been replaced with dog cravat and space blanket. Regular cravat, full-size triangular bandage. Also, AAR comment from when I helped out that kid who had completely fractured humerus between elbow and shoulder. I have also completely fractured humerus. I had to cut up clothes and use some chick's like yoga mat to splint this kid's arm once he started going into spasming from his arm fracture. So I did not have good splinting material on me. I now carry a SAM splint to sandwich my laptop in my Urban Man purse. So I carry a SAM splint and a linear, pre-rigged linear for wrapping cravat in my combat flip-flops bag post that incident. So that's it, guys. That's all that's in there right now. So where's my boo-boo kit? I don't have any iodine liquid. I don't have a splinter puller. I don't have Band-Aids. I don't have a pill pack. So there's no boo-boo kit in here. Need to add one. I just bought myself some cube space by getting rid of this piece of shit right here. So boo-boo kit's got to go in here. Some type of packing or more absorbent first aid material. I don't need to carry an Israeli or an Olhees or whatever. I've got a cravat. I just need something that can get in there and help out those clotting factors. Maybe a roll of combat gauze and then a roll of regular Curlex. And then that with the tourniquet, with the two cravats, the large and the small. I got an okay little kit for me to work on for wilderness and injury type stuff. So that's it. I also have a replacement battery for the Kenwood. The Kenwood is 6 to 8 hour, and the extra battery is pretty darn light. So I would carry a second battery for the Kenwood because this and this and this are more important to my overall survival probability. If I'm being injured, or if I've been injured, if I'm being hunted by someone, deranged person, or if I am lost and need recovery and I'm immobilized or my vehicle is down or whatever, those three items are going to give me a higher probability of overall success than flint and steel. Like, I'm in the land of the free and the home of the brave. I just need to get some people like at the highest end, pararescue and Coast Guard, at the lowest end, like search and rescue volunteer ham radio nerd guy. Like any of them people that have a better cell phone signal than me are going to get one of these people to come get me. That communications is the most important aspect. Leveraging the systems that are out there to come get me. The navigational stuff keeps me from needing to get got in the first place unless I get injured. As long as I know where I am, I'm going to get myself out. Unless I'm immobilized, then I can't. But you do have to think about worst case environment. Fire, Mylar, that covers rain, that covers heat. So fire and Mylar, absolutely necessary. No water purification because I was in the desert. I am going to get a Sawyer Mini or a type of screw-on to standard water bottle filtration straw system, and it's going in here. So, and as part of the pill pack, I'll probably have some electrolyte tablets in there. I used to take some good ones when I was downrange that were in horse pill form, and I like them better because you could get ahead, or you could recuperate some lost ground for people that are starting to get heat exhaustion and get nauseous. You can have all the Pedialyte and whatever, Gatorade, whatever. But if any of those flavored electrolyte replacements kick that person's nausea in and they vomit it all back up, where are you at? With a pill form, you can have them lightly sip water, and just enough to get the pills down, and then let the pills start to take effect and get the electrolytes into your system before you start trying to force hydrate through their suck hole and you get the clear water, projectile vomiting, heat exhaustion, severe heat exhaustion stuff going on. I have gotten behind the power curve on rehydration, and once the severe nausea kicks in, without IV replacement therapy, it is very, very hard to get both the volume and the electrolytes and minerals that you need back into that person. So I like the idea of, with carrying very little weight in terms of bulk, being able to carry high payoff tablets that really get that person back in there, especially if they are like mentally out of it, but you're checking their core temp and you're like, this isn't delirious because of heat stroke. This is delirious due to electrolyte imbalance. This dude don't know where the fuck he's at. And I've seen a straight up zombie, like dude laid out, and they hit him with some D5W, some D50 solution. And it was like spiking that chick in the titty in Pulp Fiction. Like dude came up, anal thermometer in his butt, almost snapped off the mercury. Like he's being combative because he was out of it. And then he woke up and there was something in his ass and he started acting the fool. So I've seen how quickly, somebody that is chemically off balance can come back into it that is not heat exhaustion, body core temperature related. So electrolyte tablets are absolutely going to go into the pill pack for my personal stuff. So that concludes the Hill People Gear Pack layout for you guys. I'm going to go ahead and pause for editing. And then we will get on to some of your questions. Hill People Gear. Low vis, backcountry. Carry what you need.